Let's review. Liverpool took a visit to West Brom and we came away as winners. And I think actually one of the things that I've heard is, or seen and at least read, in the first time in our history we've won away at a Tony Pulis side. So that's always good news, making history every so often. It's very nice to hear. And we won 1-0. My prediction was for a 2-1 win, but we still won by a 1-goal margin. And yeah, it was weird how Liverpool came and scored from a set piece. And, West Brom are known for their set pieces, quite well known, about nearly 50% of their goals have come from set pieces. And I was very, very surprised that, Firmino was the one that got the header, and it was Milner's free kick wasn't the best, but it had a nice flick on from Lucas, and it ended up onto the bonce of Firmino, who got it straight into the net from about 6 yards out. And it was very, very good to have that. But you're thinking 1-0 for the rest of the game. This is going to be absolutely tight as hell. This is going to be so difficult because you're basically riding your luck for an entire 45 minutes and whatever gets added on in the second half. But what a time to get the goal, though. Just on the stroke of half time. And it's absolute. If that had gone in 0-0, I do think that game would have finished 0-0. I don't think that we would have been able to get anything else from it. West Brom were dangerous in some ways, but I think we nullified their attacks quite well. I think we nullified their aerial presence, their towering defenders and towering forwards and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, they had some bits where they were getting in behind and it looked like they were going to cause us so much trouble. But then I think Phillips goes through and Mignolet pulls off a one-on-one save all over again, and it's Stoke all over again pulling off saves that we need at vital moments in a game. That could have meant that game goes 1-1 at another point in the season. But at this point in time, it is definitely points over performance, because the points are the things that matter right now. We could play like absolute garbage, and if we get 3 points, I'm fairly okay with that, because we haven't played garbage all season. We've had some pretty damn entertaining football. We've managed in the last 2 games to grind out victories somehow. We managed to come round, especially in the Stoke game, getting the 2 goals from the 2 Brazilians. This time a little bit more Brazilian magic comes from Firmino. But generally the team, it looked better in some ways. In other ways, it didn't look too great when you've obviously got, West Brom's forwards were able to get in behind our defence. Sometimes, not at will. It didn't happen at will. It wasn't all the time. But it certainly happened enough for it to be a little bit of a concern. But I was happy with the way that the defenders dealt with it and how Mignolet was able to deal with stuff as well. I don't know what it is in the last couple of games. He looks a bit more commanding of his area. He looks like he's got a bit more confidence about him. That Klopp's got confidence in him as well. No idea what that's going to do to Karius, which is unfortunate, because I had really high hopes for Karius when he came to us. But let's not forget, I think Karius is only 24 years old, so he's still a young lad. He's still got a long way to go. Maybe next season could be the time. I don't know. What do you guys think on that one? But I think it's a vital victory as well, and it sets us up for Crystal Palace. The Crystal Palace game is obviously going to be a bit of a difficult one, and I think that obviously Mamadou Sakho won't actually be able to play in that game because he's actually our player on loan to Crystal Palace, so I don't think he'll be actually able to play that game, and he's been very, very vital for Crystal Palace in very key wins against Chelsea and Arsenal, to name just 2, and probably 2 of their biggest wins as well. They'll probably be looking for one against us. And what a time to get it when we need victories the most. And we're trying to solidify our top 4, maybe top 3 credentials. It's going to be a tough game. It will be a tough game. But I'm happy and I'm quite quietly confident in the way that we've performed in the last 2 matches against 2 teams that are notoriously difficult for us. In Stoke and also in West Brom. Especially West Brom. I think West Brom are the highest team in the league out of all of these ones right now. And they've done very well this season under Pulis. They have done very, very well. Palace will have a couple of different threats though. We've got Benteke, who seems to be doing very well in Crystal Palace, as I thought he would if we sold him this year, and that's why I was a little bit umming and ahhing over whether we should have actually sold him or not. But he's gone there and he's doing okay now. He seems to be bedding in. Wilfried Zaha has rediscovered the form why Manchester United bought him in the first place a good couple of years ago. He's absolutely on fire at the moment. You've got Andros Townsend, who gives them a very good outlet. They've got skill, technique, pace, and they've got power up front as well. They've got a good back line as well. It depends obviously who they're going to put in there in place of Sakho, or whether Sakho is going to be eligible, and that would be interesting. But I don't think that can be the case. But I'm very happy with where we are right now. It just, I was quite shocked by the result of Manchester United and Chelsea. Didn't actually see that going the way that it did, but Man United absolutely bossed it against Chelsea, and it does mean that they're still going to be trying as hard as they can in the hunt for the top four. I think the people that they can dislodge, the most, or most likely to dislodge, would be Man City, but Man City also seem to be playing themselves into quite a bit of form. Their players are doing very well. Leroy Sané is looking like their signing of the season right now. He's absolutely, now he's been given his opportunity, he's grabbed it with both hands and he's looking very, very good himself. So, it's going to be a tough one to actually crack the top four if you're outside it already. But Man United look like they would be the team to do it if any of them are going to do it out of Arsenal and Everton. Arsenal just seem to be... They've got an important game tonight, Monday Night Football. They have got an important game against Middlesbrough. If something goes wrong there, that's it for Arsenal. It genuinely is for Arsenal. Everton, not sure. Everton aren't going to make it into the top four. That's just how it is this year. And depends what happens with Lukaku as well. But I'm kind of drifting off a little bit and going into other things. I was very proud of the performance that Liverpool put in because you knew that they had to fight. They weren't going to be able to play the beautiful, pretty football that we can sometimes play, or that attacking, incisive football that we sometimes play as well. We've still got key players out. Henderson and Lallana are still missing. Mane is obviously out for the season, but Henderson and Lallana, I read an article, I think it was This Is Anfield or something like that, saying that they're not due back until early next month, that's a few games. That's a few games. Like, we're only on the 17th of April at the moment. That's still another 2 weeks. So that could, is that going to prove costly for us? At the moment, it's not. And we don't really have, I think maybe the highest caliber team that we're going to come up against is possibly Crystal Palace. I might be wrong on that one, though. I think we've still got West Ham to play as well, who West Ham can always play, pretty difficult football against us. Middlesbrough, you never know. They're going to be fighting for their lives. They're going to be wanting to hope. They're going to be, if they're relegated at that point, though, what kind of team turns up? You never know. Could it be like a Newcastle v Tottenham last year, where Newcastle beat them 5-1, just out of nowhere? Absolutely out of nowhere. You never know, and I hope not. But we've got a good run in for ourselves now. We're playing in a different way. I was trying to explain it to someone earlier today, that we are playing in a slightly different way. We're not playing the attacking football that we were playing. We're now, we're trying to be a bit more patient with the ball because we've lost some key players. 3 players that I mentioned before, Henderson, Lallana and Mane. We've lost those 3 key players there. We've got Sturridge coming back into the team. Origi's still doing okay. Coutinho still blowing hot and cold every now and again. More hot than cold, but still. Firmino is absolutely on fire at the moment. But we're playing a lot more patient than we have done in previous times this season, when it could have really done us a lot of good. We could have already maybe, solidified top 4 by now or something like that. But it's one of those things. We haven't, and we've still got that job to do. We've still got a good couple of games. Well, 5 games left now. It really is coming to a very important time of the season. Can Liverpool make it? Can we? The question I'm going to ask you in the poll is, can Liverpool solidify top 3? I want top 3 so much. I really, really do. Can we make top 3? At worst, top 4. But when I say at worst, it's purely because of the qualification process and all that sort of stuff. But can we get top 3 and then we go straight into the groups? I think we can do it, and I think that, for us, I think it puts you in a bit more of a better stead when it comes to the transfer market in the summer. If you get top 3, you're already in the groups. You don't have to qualify. It puts you in better stead. People looking at that like, they're actually guaranteed. They're going to be playing in the groups. That's great. They're not having to qualify or start your season very early and start doing the qualifying process then. And then maybe transfers are waiting or whatever. However it works. We haven't been really in the Champions League for quite a little bit, having to do the qualification bit, so I haven't really tracked it that much. Not entirely sure exactly how it all works. But I think it'll be vital for us to get top 3, and it'll put us in, as I keep saying, very good stead for transfer market and stuff like that. And if they're talking about 200 million for Liverpool, and I'm going to do a video on this as well. I am going to do a video on this supposed 200 million that we're going to get for summer. They're going to have to spend it wisely. They really are going to have to spend it wisely, and I have no idea who they're going to spend it on. They're not going to. I don't think they'd spend it on big names. I really don't. I think it's going to be like promising talent and stuff like that. And it could be one of those. It could work and it might not work. I don't know. But anyway, that's the end of this review. I hope you've enjoyed it. West Brom fans, how do you feel about your season? Because it looks like you're doing pretty well, apart from obviously this result and the last couple of results. But I think you're still in 8th place in the table. I might be wrong on that one. Liverpool fans, how do you feel about the rest of the season? The rest of the games that we've got? Do you feel confident? Let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed it, please drop a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you ever so much for watching, as always, and I'll catch you later.